Now, what would you say, from a mindset point of view, what would you say are 5 qualities or 3 qualities that you have to be a successful fighter nowadays?
Now,
Anytime.
It would be successful fighters, be successful as
Right.
business, successful in life is one, you gotta have a love for what you do. You gotta have a love. Not a like.
Right.
You gotta love what you do. Second, because then as they say, I ain't never worked. Well, it's work, but you love what you're
Right.
doing, right? Two, you gotta have a passion. Now, people understand, I say, the passion is different than love.
Is that right?
You love, but passion is a certain burning desire, that whether it's for a person, you have a passion for a person, to be with that person. I love a lot of people, don't necessarily have a passion
Right.
for them, right? So you gotta have a passion for what you do. Three, you gotta have an understanding of what you do, too. You have to have an understanding of what it is, what you're getting yourself into. That life kicks your ass sometimes. You gotta do the grind. Life teaches you lessons, so do the grind. So you have the love, you have a passion, but you have to have an understanding. And then you have to have that dedication and devotion to whatever you do.
I think the discipline is such an underrated thing of life. I've seen talent. I've seen, if you're disciplined, if you can give yourself a command and follow that command, keep the promise to yourself, I feel like you could do anything in the world.
Really, you said that. That's the key word. It's funny. I told my kids they were kids. I said, I've said this to my kids since they were little. Discipline is the thread through life. Discipline is the one quality it's the thread that carries you through life. Because if you're disciplined for the food you eat,
Right.
for the life you live, for the women you love,
That's a good one.
for your marriage, it's a discipline. You're going to be tempted with a lot of things through life. The discipline is to say no, or yes, I'm going to do this, which is the right way. Take this road. That's discipline. Discipline is going to keep you on the track, the right track.
And the one thing is people kind of misinterpret, I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? Motivation for discipline. So discipline to me is light years ahead of motivation. Motivation comes and goes. You can't count on it. People drink 6 beers at 2 a.m. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Or you might put your earbuds on. You're running around. You think something's going to happen. But, when you do discipline, you're going to create the habits for success.
That's right.
You create the habits, and then it just becomes a part of life. You keep doing it every day. And, I believe you'll get a result from that.
Oh, there's no doubt. And as I said, discipline is going to carry you through life. Because, for sometimes you're down, sometimes you're up. If you have a discipline that, hey, I get knocked down. And I tell my kids, if something you get knocked down your ass, even myself, I allow it for a day. I let it settle, and then boom. But the way that gets you up the next day to move forward is the discipline.
I mean, the way I look at it is there's certain principles for success. We both have kids, so if someone tells me, I could micromanage my kids and say, be a lawyer, be a brain surgeon, be this, be that. But if someone were to say, okay, your kid's gonna exercise daily, he's not gonna overdrink, he's not gonna do drugs, he's gonna meditate, he's gonna read, then I know he has the qualities, the principles of success. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter what avenue he takes. He might go this route, he might go that route, but whatever he chooses to do, he's going to be successful because those foundational principles are laid.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. You always heard about the pyramid of success.
Yeah.
About the different things. And there's a lot of value into that. And, but you read it, and I tell my kids the thing, whatever I tell you, just do it. I used to tell them, whatever I tell you, take what you can use. And sometimes, look, I want you to be better than I was. As a father, my father was everything I want to be. But I've seen the things that are different between me and him. So I try to correct what I think those mistakes were. But who are saying they're mistakes?
Right.
What were the things that I didn't like? There wasn't a whole lot that I didn't like.
Of course, and both of our fathers have passed now. To me is when you pass, I always say you're an angel. You're heaven. I said somebody say something about mine. I said nope, Dad never did anything wrong. He's passed away. We don't say anything about Dad.
Right. But I mean, he was everything I wanted to be as a man, as a father, as a husband. He was everything I wanted to be. But some things you say, I'd be different.
Without question, but sometimes a lot of times you learn what to do, and sometimes you learn what not to do because it's in you. So I would see the temper, and I said, I see that coming. Let me take that down a notch, And just really, to me, it's just all about understanding yourself. The more you can understand yourself, the more you're going to understand other people. The more you're going to just find your way.
When you said that, because I always tell my kids, they said, learn who you are and what you are.
Right.
You got to know who you are and what you are. Ray Mancini, I'm the son of Ellen and Lenny Mancini. Yeah, that's who you are, what you are. Well, what? This from inside, what you are. I'm a guy who's driven. I'm a guy who wants to be great. Yeah, I tell my kids, you want to be great. I said, you got to challenge greatness.
Right.
Greatness don't come to you.
Yeah.
My father's mother taught me, long since a kid, you got to go after it.
Right.
So you got to go after it. It don't come to you. So whatever it is you want to go, you got to go take it. But take it. My mom said, but you got to go take it. She framed it the right way. Through education, and this. I'm not talking about this, right? Education, and hard work. Right. That's how you go.
To me, success, like, you create a standard for yourself, a level.
Yeah.
And everything I do is on this level. I'm living here. Yeah. So if you want to do business with me, if you want to be my friend, anything I do is going to be right here. Yeah. So I just try to stay in that place. And if you live in that place, then I believe it'll come to you.
You're right.
Just setting a high standard.
Absolutely.
And it's the little things day by day. Sometimes you get a pat on the back. Sometimes you don't get a pat on the back. But it's just that consistency, that discipline to keep doing the things you know are right. And then the more you do that, to me, the more self-confidence, the more self-belief you have, or you stop listening to what the neighbor says, the guy down the street says, because no. I know right here what's right.
That's what I said. I've never listened to anybody else, which is, I think was my, people would say, what was your greatest quality? I said, my strength of mind.
Right.
I said, my strength of mind, because when I was a kid growing up, I'd say, I want to be a federal world champion for my father. Oh, that's cute. The little boy wasn't ain't that cute. I said, oh no, that's what I want to be. I always knew what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be anything else. Even when on the way on, I was on the climb, people say, you say you want to be a world champion for your father. And, how true is that? I said, it's everything. That's everything I'm saying. It's true. Everything I want to be. After I won the title, they said, well, how did you win the title? Did you really mean what you said? Yeah, man. Yeah, because I was a kid. I was a baby when I used to think about it. People always say to me, if you weren't a fighter, what would you have been? I said, I can't answer that. Because there's nothing else I wanted to be. I can't say I would have been this, I would have been, because there's nothing else I wanted to be. So I tell people, so that's everything I wanted to be. Now, granted, if some things were different, things changed, but that's everything I wanted to be.
I heard something, and I don't know if I read something that you said it, or maybe somebody back home attributed this quote, so, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard you said one time, you said, you don't believe in a plan B, because if you have a plan B, then you don't believe in a plan A. And that always stuck with me. And to me, another thing I read was Cortez, when he came to the Americas, he came with 2 ships, 40, 60, however many Spaniards there were, and he burned the ships. He said, we win or we die. And that always stuck with me. I said, God, Ray, I remember reading that years ago as a little kid. I'm like, that's genius.
Well, I didn't know about Cortez, but that same thing, which is great. I've learned the history lesson. That's great. But I did say, I always say, I've done a couple commencement speeches and I always say, teachers, the counselors, you're gonna love this part. And I tell them, I said, never ever have plan B, never. I said, because if you don't believe plan A is gonna work, then what are we talking about?
Yep.
But here's the rub. Sometimes things don't go as we planned. Right. Guess what? That's life. So we learn how to adapt.
You can adjust. That's what I always said when I'm telling people how to reach goals, and I'm helping coach people on doing different things. I said, listen, you just need a plan. And that plan doesn't even have to be soundproof, but you have to have a place to start, and you got to follow it. And it's adjustable. If you hit a roadblock here, you can go around that way, but you have to have a system of doing things.
Well, my son Leonardo was, we went through school, they perfect example. Okay, I give my example. My daughter, before she graduated, to be with the counselor, Nina, what do you want to be? She goes, I want to be a tattoo artist. Counselor said, Mr. Mancini, okay, so why not? She's a wonderful artist. She's using her talent. No overhead. She can run out of bodies. What's wrong with that? And she goes, what's your plan B? She goes, oh, my father's plan B. Oh, no. There is no plan B. I said, I love you. I'll support you. I said, but you going to figure it out on your own. There's no backup here. Now, I said, there's no backup plan. Now, 2 years later, and she figured it out, and she did it. She did what she had to do, and she did it. I told her, I'll help you, but here's what you're going to do. You're working or you're going to school, one or the other. Right. She worked away and things. And then one thing, she started to go for artistry, and now she does beauty business where she does microblading. Microblading is basically tattoo the eyebrows, and she does with eyebrows. But then she did, but she was going. She started with waitressing, trying to make money, and then she got offered to work for a company that did worldwide events. And she traveled because she speaks perfect Spanish. So she traveled, my kids are Cuban,
Right.
so she travels around the world and worked for this company and do worldwide events. Just things are happening, and you just go with it.
One thing leads to the next.
Yes, exactly. And then she comes back. Now she's doing her beauty business. My son Leonardo, he's the same thing. 2 years later, he graduated, and they said Leonardo, he was a wonderful, special athlete, special.
Wow.
But he had a very severe brain injury his sophomore year that kind of really affected. It wasn't a concussion; it was actually a brain injury. So the brain actually shifted, and he had some blood spots, like a fighter's brain.
Wow.
But he got through that, and he continued to come back, play the sports, getting offers from some colleges. But he said, "Pop, I don't have the love for it." I said, "What do you want to do?" He says, "I don't know." So I said, "Well, we'll figure it out." But when they said to him, "What are you going to do?" He said, "Well, I'm not so sure. I have a couple ideas." "Well, do you have a backup plan?" He goes, "No." He goes, "You don't?" He goes, "No. My father taught me never to have one." And the guy looked over. I said, "Hear him out." He said, "My father taught me if you have a backup plan, you're going to back up.
Right.
If you have a fallback plan, you'll fall back." He said, "I plan on failing." And the guy said to me, he says, "Mr. Mancini, I think you're doing your son disjustice." I said, "No, you're doing my son disjustice. You're doing him an injustice because you're telling him basically what he's planning to do is that he's going to fail."
Well,
so why would you tell him?
Right.
Why would you? So why was the plan? Why was your plan A if you could have a plan? There's that stupidest thing I've ever heard. I said, but I tell my kids, there is no plan A. You're going to succeed in what you do.
Right.
And if you don't, guess what? We'll
figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Life has a way of happening.
That plan B, all it does is create doubt in your mind.
Always.
You don't want doubt, whether you're a fighter, whether you're in business. If you start a business, you say, "Well, I see these guys say, well, I'm going to do this if it doesn't work out." No, bullshit. You're going to do it.
Of course.
And I mean, where attention goes, energy goes. What you put your attention to, we can't see it, but it's as real. It's as real as this table is.
Right.
You put the attention towards it, and you're going to get a certain result. And if your mind is scattered and going in different directions, if it's split, the Bible says, he said a man a split. He said
you can't have a double. It can't be double.
A double mind can't see anything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, that's it. So so I tell people when I do these commencement speeches. I say, how many teachers have said, "Oh, I love this one. This is my other favorite one." How many teachers have said, "Stay in your lane"? And they raise their hands, and I go, "How many kids have heard that?" Everyone, I go, "The dumbest shit I ever heard." And they look at me, and I go, "Hear me out." And this is the reason why. Once you hear me, I think you get it. I said, I lived in California for 30 years. Busiest freeways in the world. So if you're flying down the freeway, driving comfortably in your car, and you're going on the freeway, right? All of a sudden, up ahead, you see the lights start backing up. So you come up. Now you start slowing down. And now you come to a crawl, and now you come to a stop. Car in your lane, stop. But the other lanes are flying by you. What do? You change lanes to get ahead. Same thing in life. If you're stuck in a loveless marriage, if you're stuck in a job you hate, if you're stuck going to school, hating what you because your parents want you to go become a lawyer or something, it's a class you hate. You change lanes to get ahead in life. You change lanes. That's what people do. So if you figure, when they see now, you give them an analogy of they get it.
Right.
But it's the devil to stay in your lane.
As far as in the world,
life passes you by, stay in your lane.
You're only here one time. I want to try to make the best.
That's right.
I mean, you gotta take your shots. I mean, to me, it's like, I didn't have near the career you did. I was 25-10, but I fought 4 world champions. I fought the best.
You've had a very successful career. Success is by the accomplishment. It isn't, if don't say it right, it isn't by the accomplishments, the wins or losses. It's the accomplishment of getting in the ring and putting yourself in that position. And you did. You had a hell of a successful career. Forget the wins and losses. It was a successful career because of the people you fought, putting yourself in position to be successful. And look where it's led to now.
Right. And one of the big things is, to me, everything's a learning experience. I mean, I look back at my career, and like I was telling you earlier when we were eating lunch, I said, I didn't have no excuses. I didn't have great examples. I kind of learned what not to do. I learned on the fly. It ended up the way it is. But guess what? Now I do know what to do. So I look back at my career and think, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have been out here. I shouldn't have been doing this. I shouldn't have been with that person. But I could complain, make excuses, and think about that. Or I could apply what I learned then to now. Now in business and life, the bullshit mistakes I made, I'm doing it right now.
That's right.
Every day is a new opportunity to have more discipline, more integrity, to treat people that are better. every day we get a chance at it.
You just said the key word, integrity. There's this. I mean, you've got to have a certain integrity as a man. In business too, you have to have a certain business integrity that a lot of people don't have anymore. You know, but in life, man, you know, people are gonna remember. What's the old saying? And I believe it's true. You may not remember what you say or what you do, but you always remember how you made them feel.
Right.
That's an integrity that you
So
have.
here's a question, Ray. What makes a man great? When you look at someone and say, that was a great man.
A guy who gave it everything he had, put it all on, and he did it for the love of his family and for the love of God, and love of his country. So you know, you put God, country, and family. You know, and those are the three things we were based our lives supposed to be based on. But God first and foremost, right? You do it what's in right, and you're supposed to do what's right in the eyes of God. And if you do what's right in the eyes of God, it's gonna be right in the eyes of man. And
I remember coming up sometimes, and when I retired, I was trying to find a new path in life and get into business. And no one's watching. You know, the cameras are off. No one gives a shit anymore. And I was just thinking, you know, as I did things, let me live my life like someone's watching. What if my mom was watching me? What if my wife had a camera on me? Let me try to live just, you know, you're not perfect. You do the best you can, but you don't say fuck it. You make a mistake, you jump back on the horse, and you just got to keep trying. You got to keep fighting. You can't. We call it back home when I was back in Youngstown. We call it, you know, a case of the fuck it's. I said fuck it. You know, we try, we fail, we get up, we fail, but it's the success. I think Earl Nightingale said is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if you have an ideal that's worthy and you're progressively working towards it, by definition, you're a success. Success.
Well, you know what definition of success too? For people always say, "What's your definition of success?" I said, "When you get up in the morning and get out of bed, that's the first step to success, because it's everything step right. You got to make a step forward.
Right.
How easy is it to look at the clock, roll over back? You know, people always say to me, "When did you know?" They said, "When did you know it was time to retire?" I said, because when the alarm went off, I looked up and I rolled over. Nah, I never did. I joked. Of course, I made a joke. I said, but that's the old saying, box, you know. Or what the guy say, well, you're sleeping in silk pajamas. How could you not, you know, how can you be hungry? But no, I never had silk pajamas. But I get the point I'm trying to say is, I said, success, I tell people, is rolling over. And as soon as your feet hit the ground, and you get up, go take a piss, whatever, that's success. Because you took the first step forward.
Right.
And every day is that. Is getting up and meeting the trials and tribulations of life head on.
Right.
You know, we ain't trying to duck them. We're going straight. We're going at them. It's not, you know, we're going right at them and try to meet them head on. And sometimes they, you know, people get overwhelmed by it.
Right. I mean, if it's a person in the ring or if it's a person in business or life, you got to beat me. I'm not gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna say you can beat me. Come kick my ass in the ring. Come kick my ass in bit, but there's no laying down. You got to show me. You're gonna have to show me you can do it.
Because people said to me, you know, when I was fighting, they said, "Look, when we got in there, if you beat me, you beat me, but I wasn't gonna beat myself."
Right.
And too many people beat themselves. And they said, "I see, you beat yourself by creating doubt, having doubt, and not going forward." And I said, "You know, you being a guy like myself who would cut blood, you taste your own blood, but it's what do you feel like when you taste your blood?" I said, keep moving forward, because it showed them that you can't, you know, you can't stop. That's not going to deter me.
I was thinking, you know, I was on our YouTube channel, and one of my fights against James Kirkland popped up, and I took an ass open for about 8 rounds. I might have won 1 round, and I'm looking. That was when he was in his prime. He was like 19-0, 18. That was before he went to prison. And I'm watching this fight, and I'm like, holy fuck! Look at these shots. I'm thinking, God damn, I'm just coming, and it was like going through a meat grinder. And, you know, I couldn't do it again. I'm not in that place anymore.
Right.
But there was never a doubt to quit. And, you know, so many people, I remember people back home said, man, you're getting hit. You were down. You couldn't win that fight. You didn't have the knockout power. Why'd you keep coming? And it was just like that same quality then I had. All it did was get me beat up for 7 more rounds and get hit in the head. But it serves me now.
Of course.
And it's like people don't realize they can't make that connection. You can't bullshit life. You can't cheat life.
If you have dog in you in the ring, you want to have dog in you in life. And you can't. You can't be sincere. You have dog in you.
Right.
And there's you know, you can't do it. And people don't understand why. You know, a guy I talked about earlier. A guy said, "Oh, you got hit a lot." I go, "Yeah, I like taking a man once in a while." Meaning, you know, you're coming forward, you give him a moving target. And like, because you got life's about that. You got the bob and weave, and you got to learn,
Right.
and that's life. Life's coming at you, and you got to learn how to deal with life.
And one thing that's really interesting to me is even physiologically, these are things I just knew growing up. I was never taught, but the science is catching up. They said, once you quit something, a neural pathway in your brain makes it easier to quit. You actually have a pathway. Yeah. So the more you quit, it becomes a habit. It becomes easier to quit, easier to quit, easier to quit. And the more you time to overcome it, the more you push, guess what? It becomes easier and easier to do it. And I kind of knew this intrinsically, but it's cool to see the science say, okay, well, your brain is actually rewiring connections, and it's really changing whether you keep going or whether you give up.
Well, first of all, what I'm more impressed with you using the word neurologically and physically, that's what I'm more impressed with. He's throwing out these 98 cent words like they're gum drops.
Hey.
Tic Tacs. Hey, man. Because I'm impressed because I consider myself a verbologist, a linguist.
Right.
Yes.
You know what it is? I love to learn. I'm so fucking eager to live, and I just want to try to be a little better version of myself.
When you said, what friend you said that? I was going to say earlier. People, I said long ago, somebody asked me, I said, I'm the best version of myself. I feel I'm the best I've ever been. Meaning, as a man, as a husband, as a father, I'm the best version of myself now. And then, I'm proud to say that, but sometimes it hurts because I wish could have been that. But then you always wish could have and all that. Right. But that hurts because I wish I could have been that guy 10 years ago, 20 years ago, as for my kids, for my first wife, and I wasn't. And but you go through that, you go through, the life, you go through a divorce, you go through the complications with your kids. Now, we were better, never. Me and my kids always been better, never. But you go through that because the family concept is not what they knew now. It's different,
right?
And you feel guilty. You go through the guilt feelings. You go through all that. You beat yourself up, but you can't let it get you down.
And the thing, I agree with that completely because there's always things we could change and look in the rearview mirror. And I haven't been. No one's perfect. No. But I think the trick is, to me, I try to teach my kids this. I have my little 6-year-old daughter. She sucks it all up, and she gets it too. And I said, sweetie, everything you're doing, every thought is either bringing you closer, happier, closer to your goal, or farther away. So I said, are you thinking negative emotions or good emotions? Are you, even sometimes the guilt, the worry, the doubt, the regret.
Especially kids.
Yeah.
They always worry about guilt and
right.
worry about things. They worry about everything. When I speak, one thing I said, anytime in life, you're doing one of three things. You're moving forward, moving backwards, or you're standing still. Right. 2 to 3 ain't good. Always got to be moving forward. Right. But sometimes, you ever see a crab? It's a crab walk. Crab goes up, goes to the side.
Right.
Goes up a couple inches to the side.
Right.
And sometimes you get into the destination, but people don't see. They don't see. It's a crab walk. I'm making progression. It's not. You ain't seen it, but I'm doing it. I know it. So maybe not as fast as you had hoped to, not as fast as I had hoped it would be. But it is. I'm moving forward, and because there's certain obstacles and you have to learn to adapt, and boom. But you're moving forward.
If you're going towards the goal, right, and you're walking on the path towards the goal, and all of a sudden there's something, it's blocking it, it's inhibited, and then you have to walk back the path to go around another path. Right. You can't say that step backwards was any less important than the step forward. That's right. Even though technically you were away from the goal, you still had to take that step to get to where you're going.
You're either going over it, you're going under it, you're going around it. Yeah. That's the little set, right? Something you get an obstacle in your way, that's the one. But the fact that you go, okay, well, I'm going to climb over it, I'm going to get underneath it, I'm going to go around it. Yeah. How are we going to do it? But that's how successful people think. Other people look at it and go, oh man, I can't do it. This thing's in the way. So it's how people, like you said, the mind's wired. But successful people find a way, figure it a way. But people think success happens in 10 minutes. Right. That's the problem. And that's the problem. I get people from my hometown of Youngstown. If you ain't done it in the last 10 minutes, you ain't done it.
Right.
And I shake my head, man. They don't get it, man. Success is a progression. Success is not long. It's a long-term process. It may not, the success may not be long-term. The process is long-term.
They just see the finished result, but they don't see everything that went into it. They weren't in the gym. They weren't taking this. They weren't sparring. And that's what's always impressed me is that you've been, we said you retired at 24, in the limelight from a very young age, professional 18. And to live and have the reputation you do and still be here, it's 2023 at a major event, part of it, and no one has a bad word to say about you.
I appreciate that. To talk to my household, that'd be a different story.
But the way to talk to people, to be friendly, everyone loves you, and that says something about your character that throughout all these years, here we are.
Like I said, we talked earlier about, and I said it ain't hard to be a good guy. It really ain't. You gotta work hard to be a jerk off. You really do gotta work hard to be a jerk off. How hard is it to stop, take a picture,
Right.
sign a piece of paper, kiss a baby? I always say shake hands, kiss babies, take a picture. How hard is it? It ain't hard. It lasts less than 10 seconds.
Right.
But people, it's not. They go out of their way to be jerk offs, man, and I don't understand that.
What would you say to me, I kind of feel I'm 38, but I feel old the way how much the world's changed. But the way the world's changed just since I was in high school or teenager, and there's so many challenges for kids, especially young men today. What kind of advice would you give them to kind of stay on the track, and just kind of life advice for them?
Well, like if I tell my own kids, my kids are in their 30s now, and I said, we talked earlier. You see the end result. You see the goal. You see the pot of gold. You see the title belt. Now, how you gonna get there? But again, it ain't gonna never be a straight line. You're gonna be detours, and you're gonna over and under, all this stuff. But the point is, always have an end goal in sight. If you lose track of that, some along the way, if life's beating you down, and you lose track of that, or you can't see it now, and it's not in your mind anymore.
One of my favorite things they say is they'll say, I always tell them, something that's funny, we talk about the kids, something I teach my kids. I say you're either winning or learning. You're winning or you're learning. So something great happens, good. You win, go to the next thing, or you messed up, you took a loss, okay, then you're going to learn. Unless you quit, you can never lose. You only lose if you quit. You either win or you learn.
I know a man, when the Suns would win an event, when you give them $1. When they lose, you give them $5. And I said, well, why are you giving them more?
Yeah.
He said, because I expect them to win. If they don't, that's not it. He said, that's unusual. So I give them more. Because I expect them to win. He says they should expect to win.
Right.
So when they don't, he said, and he said, I give them more because I would expect. That's unusual.
Right.
So it's unusual. Give them more. And I thought but if you think about it, it makes total sense.
Right.
You win, you get to expect to win.
Right.
So the little things, the money you make along the way, he said, well, if it don't happen, oh man, you get rewarded more because it was the effort.
It's amazing how.
And I never said, wow, it's the total exact what we're taught in this life, right? Or in American society. You get rewarded for the more money, or you get more when you win, than if you lose. But if you train paying the dues, you train as hard, you expect to win. I go in the ring, you don't expect to lose. You go in to expect you to win, right? You have to have the confidence you're going to win. And so, but it's nice to but when I didn't win, but I had the love of my family, I had the love of my city behind me, and that built, it picked me up. And that meant more than sometimes the other one, than the wins.
And there's lots of ways, there's so many ways to measure success. And I think, nowadays, you need money. Money to me is a form of energy. Like people say, I don't care about the money, and it's usually people that don't got a lot of it.
That's
but the thing about it is,
it's exactly who it is.
But the thing about it is, okay, I'll say, okay, you don't care about the money, but you like to travel. Oh yeah. You like to eat food, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. You like alcohol. So we need it. To me, it's just money is a good servant, but it's a bad master. So if you make it your servant to use things to spread the good, the more, and I grew up in a household and it was just, a middle class household, and it was where you were leery of money. Mom was like, oh, you don't be too salesy. What did you have to do to get it? Don't just be cared about the money. It was almost like looked upon like, don't leave the money alone. But the more money you have, the more good you could do.
Of course it is, and people would say that the money's the root of all evil. No, the love of money is the root of all evil. And as we talked about earlier. Right. And so, look, my father taught me that I never did anything for the money or because of money. I never did it. I never took a job or took a fight because of the money, and I never allowed it kept me from doing anything. If I had $2.50 in my pocket and I want to go out for a date, I asked her out for a date. Figured,
get some ice cream.
We'll go get an ice cream, right? And sit down and chat.
Right.
The point is, I never let it.
Right.
It was never the cause of me to do something. It never kept it from me doing it.
And I always I heard the quote. It said, you're trading your life for the money. You're trading your life So you need to do something you're passionate about. You shouldn't do it for the money. You need to do something you enjoy, because it's time, and that's the most valuable thing we have.
My father told me, and like I said, my father was my inspiration. My mother was my motivation.
Right.
My mother's the one who made me believe I was 10 foot tall. Right. My mother made me believe the only limitations I had were those I put on myself.
Right.
My father said to me, I love you just because you're my baby. Right. Beautiful. But my mother said, Raymond, you could be anything you want in this world. There's nothing to keep you. You're the only one to keep you from being what you want to be. You put the only restrictions you put them on yourself. So I had a beautiful, I had the combination of both. They supported me. They went to everything I ever did. Both, they went, from Little League Baseball, Pop Warner, to every fight. They supported me in everything I wanted to do. Of course, they didn't want to see me fight, but they supported me. And people used to say to my mother, how can you sit there and watch him fight? She goes, how could I not?
Right.
She goes, how could he go in the ring 100% believing he's going to win if he didn't think I had 100% belief in him?
Wow.
She goes, I'd rather be at a fight seeing what's going on than being at home wondering what's going on.
Right.
So, I put it through a lot of turmoil, of course. But those are things that I said, wow, man, that's, when you have that support and you have that love, you have that backing, you just want to go out and give your best. You don't have any restrictions, man. I'm just going out there and give my best shot. And so
go out there for full heart.
Look, and my father taught me, we talking about money. He said, Raymond, don't ever do anything for the money, because if you do it for the money, because then you're a whore.
Right, I love it. 100%. That's a. Hey, I never heard that. I'm going to keep that one.
If you do it for the money, if you
I'm taking a mental note.
People always say, when I came back to fight Camacho, you come back, you came back with the money, I got the money. That was personal. Me and Camacho were personal. I'd have done that for 10 cents, $2.50.
They didn't know that.
I was personal. I was 4 years removed from being when I fought. I had no love. When I left, I never thought it would happen. The fact the opportunity would still happen, I was still young enough. I was 28.
Right.
So I was still young enough to do it. Now, a month after I fight Camacho, I get married. And then I figure we have my money, I have my security, my future, my bride. Then we go. Then we find out she's pregnant, and our first child's coming. Boom. Now, I'm doing an off-Broadway, but I get into I'm acting now. I'm doing an off-Broadway play in New York. I'm doing off-Broadway. First time I feel like I can say I'm an actor, right? Stage is as close to that boxing experience you get. Slide, sit, right? That same energy. I'm doing an off-Broadway play in New York, and I get offered to fight Greg Hagen. I said, Greg Hagen, tough guy, can't punch much, take good ass kicking. Yeah, let me think about that. So I'm going to the play, and I'm thinking, that'd be interesting, it'd be challenging. It was a challenge for myself. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. And not because I thought less of him, I thought more of myself. Right. Now that's what I said. So people could say, were you overconfident? Not overconfident. I was confident. I was confident that I could overcome any difficulty. I'd come over any the idea that I hadn't been in the ring for another 3 years, right? So another 3 years I hadn't been in the ring, but I felt this guy was made to order. He stands up front of you and blah, blah, blah. Problem, he's been fighting. But here's the other problem. Great training camp. But training camp's a dress rehearsal. We know that. Right. I'm in the locker room. My second child, my oldest son, Leonardo, was born in November. I go to training camp in February, less than a couple of months. And I go to training camp. I felt guilty about leaving my wife, leaving my kids. Remember the song Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton?
Oh my gosh,
come on every day at the same time. And I'd be getting up, I do road work, get up. So 10 to 2, get my nap. 2 o'clock, get up, watch TV. About 3 o'clock, start getting ready for the gym. So I'm getting ready, and that clock up there, and I'm bawling like crying my eyes. Can't control it.
Right.
But I understood. It's just as I felt so guilty being away from my son. So, and I said, "Do you think I was ready to fight?" I mean, I wasn't. So instead of going in the ring, I used to go in the ring with either you're getting carried out or I'm getting carried out. I wasn't getting carried out tonight. Right. It was this time, please God, don't let me get hurt. Don't let me do it. My wife, my baby.
You have a little bit of doubt, right?
Of course. So I had been fighting, and so I got beat good that night. I embarrassed myself, but the only good thing that come out of it is no more what ifs. I know more what ifs. Show you how funny the game is, right? So a month goes by. I'm back in LA. I'm embarrassed. I felt I let my family, let myself embarrass myself. My family, my fans, people of Youngstown who expected more of me. Right. Again, Camacho was personal. Hagen was ego. Right. And that's what ego does. Ego gets you your ass whipped. Ego gets your ass whipped life and love. But here's the funny thing. I was quoted, and I have actually a quote. There's a quote of books. There's a book of quotes out there. And I'm in the quote. Here's the quote. Guys, I was always asked, what has been my greatest strength? I said, my greatest strength has also been my greatest weakness. And that's my ego. Ego made me believe I could be whatever I want to be. Ego made me believe I could be world champion when nobody thought I could be. But it was the same ego that I didn't feel I had to do my diligence when it came to business. That I didn't do my due diligence when it come to my work. That I get by on personality or other aspects. That, and same thing made me believe I can go in the ring against a guy who had been fighting regularly and I had fought for years. Expect that going guy who's been a 2-time champion. Expect to go in there and beat him. That's ego. And ego is going to, and that's what I say about life. Life's going to set you straight. Life's going to kick your ass. It's going to set you straight. Because, I got beat the way I should have. Now, do I have regrets? Sure, I wish I didn't do it. But the regret is not that I went in there, but the regret was that I tried to fool myself. See, I couldn't, I tried to fool myself, think I could do it. No, I
can't bullshit yourself.
No, you can't. And I knew I can, but it resolved it for me.
Yeah, well, get some clarity at the end. Right. I'm sure there's always, when you're retired and you're relatively young, there's always opportunities coming. You got to learn to,
And people love me to say, "Oh, you did it for the mic." Oh, fuck, man! How much money do you think they can? How much money can they pay for your self-respect?
Right.
How much money does that take to buy your dignity?
Like,
how much is that?
That's never on sale. That's never on sale. Of course.
People understand. Yeah, they get paid. Yeah, not enough to defeat for any of that.
Quick question, because I heard, going back again, another story. We were talking about music a little bit, the song, and so did you know Bob Dylan?
Bob, I met Bob. No, I did not. It's funny. We had the same dentist.
Okay.
So I went to my dentist one day, and he says to me, "Hey, who's one of my clients?" He says, and he's a big fight fan, big fan of yours. And I told him we were gonna get, I was gonna see you. It's Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan. Oh shit! Don't get. I love Bob Dylan, man. And he says, yeah. He says, Bob has a gym here, and. I told him I was going to see you, and he actually asked if you'd like to come and train her. I said, yeah, I'd love to. So he said, look, can I give his assistant your number and ever get in touch? I said, yeah. So the assistant, Linda, called me a couple days later and said, the boss would love to meet you and have you work out with you. I said, great. Tell me the gym. I know the gym. I know exactly where it's at. And she says, then she calls me back. She says, the boss wants to know, would you spar with him? I said, sure, why not? So I go there, and I'm in there and he's not there. And I'm, shadow box something. And he comes walking in. And, oh man!
Bob Dylan to me, he's my favorite. So he's the best. I love the guy. He's like a. Now I had to quit listening to him because the shit's so sad. It gets me and now I'm trying to move forward and I can't be getting this in my subconscious thinking all this sad shit. But when I heard you knew Dylan, I got to hear the story.
Of course. Well, I said if you have. A Mount Rushmore of cultural icons.
Right.
Bob Dylan and Muhammad Ali got to be the first two.
Right.
Maybe Elvis. No, Frank. People go, what about Frank? I said, Frank's not bad. I'm talking on a global scale. Frank's not whatever it was at the time, but Bob Dylan changed a generation. Ali changed a sport. And Elvis changed an industry, man. So yeah, those are the first three guys, And so when I met with him, some administrator comes in, very quiet, very demure type guy, and very sweet guy, and shakes hands, so very dainty.
Right.
It's like very nice to meet you. So he goes and gets changed, and I'm just working out, and he gets there, and I said, Bob, whatever you want me to help you, if you shadow box and hit the bags. He goes, will you spar with me? I said, yeah, sure, why not? So I said, Bob, so we get ready and I said, Bob, now move around. I said, Bob, don't get nervous. Move around, throw your punches. If you hit me, you hit me. That's my fault, not yours. Throw your punches. Don't hold back. I said, but I'm gonna let you know I'm there every now and I'm gonna smack you too, let you know I'm there every once in a while. So we go for a couple rounds. So I'm sticking out the jab and I'm tapping the body, pop, and after 2 rounds he comes over. He goes, Ray, comes over to the corner of my corner. He says, Ray, can you left the headshots? I got a few more songs left in there. I went, yeah, no problem. So we go 4 rounds. And afterwards I go, Bob, thank you. I said, Bob, I'm assuming you're joking. I hope like hell you're joking. I'm just joking. Well, it cut to, remember, that was 1994, I believe. And that year he won the Grammy for Best New Album, Time Out of Mind.
Oh, right.
And then the
Right.
Grammy for not best album, but album of the year. Time Out of Mind.
The funniest, I get that too, especially on our gym. People say, "Hey, I want to spar you." I say, "Okay, go. I'll move around." But it's like basically, don't hit me back, don't touch me. And it's like, well, so I'm just gonna go in there and be a punching bag.
I
Like,
tell people, no, I'll move with you. I said,
I'm gonna touch you a little bit. Right.
Because everyone wants to know what it's like to get smacked.
Right.
Everyone. That's kind of it's almost drug-like. It's very what's the word I'm trying to think? When you people who get in there and have this drug and they get smacked. Oh man,
Feel alive.
It's addictive, right? Oh, it's addictive. Not you don't want to get hit, but once you know what it's like to get hit, you go, oh, it's addictive. I can actually take that punch, or it gives you a certain rush through your body. Like, oh, I was able to take that, and they keep coming back.
Right.
So that's the thing. I said, people go in there just to move around. They have these classes, but if you're in the gym long enough, eventually you want to get in the ring.
Right.
That's just part of the deal. And eventually you're gonna look at that ring enough times and go, I don't know what it's like to get in there. And you take. And I call it the 3-step block. And when I'm speaking, I call it the 3-step block. It's life altering. Whether you're amateur or pro, getting into that ring is life altering.
There's nothing like it.
Because you're the most naked athlete. The fighter's the most naked athlete in the world.
There's no timeouts. There's no pause. You're not calling a friend in.
All you have to depend on yourself and what you bring that day to the table. Your conditioning, your mindset, your heart, your desire, all of that is what you bring to the table that day. And I tell people, some days, I use this now. I tell people, the hero and the coward face fear the same.
Right.
It's what you do with it that makes you the hero or the coward. Some days you could be the hero. Some days you could be the coward. Because when you go through the mindset every day to train the brain, some days it's just you got to train it every time. Right. It's not a one-time thing, right? Some days we are the hero. Sometimes we can be the coward. Sometimes you want to go, man, I don't want
that. If there's no fear, there is no courage.
That's right.
Some people are just crazy. They're not scared of shit, But to me, it's like, if I know I got to do something, you make yourself do it.
Yeah.
If you know it's the right thing to do, no matter how. To tell you the truth, I was scared as shit to fly. I still don't like flying, but I've probably flown 200 times. But I'll get in that seat and I'm saying, I know in order for me to do what I want to do in life, I got to get on the plane.
That's right.
So you say your prayer.
I just says this to people. Say, "Are you afraid to fly?" I go, no. I get in. I say my prayers. That's it.
Right.
If you have faith, there is no fear. Right. You have fear, there is no faith.
Right.
So it can't be both. You go to faith, rely on your faith with Christ. You rely on and say your prayers, and you believe in the prayer you're saying. Leave it in the hands of God.
Right.
It's going to be in God's hand. We ain't doing anything to change that. So why would I worry about it?
Yeah.
And that's why I think I tell through life. When you talk to people, I'm so worried about this one. Why? I said, you believe in God? No, yeah. Do you have faith? Yeah. No, you don't. If you have fear, there's no faith. It's the thing. So if you would say, I don't fear nothing there, but I don't fear. I'm not fear everything about where my life's going or finances. I don't worry about. No, it's life, man, and I don't because the good Lord's going to have as a plan for me. I'm made for success. I'm not made to fail. I'm not made to fail. Good Lord made me to succeed. So and so the things I've done in life, I've taken shots. I take shots in life. I've missed more than I hit. I'm like a baseball player. I missed 7 out of 10, but I'm 300 hitter. It's a Hall of Fame career.
Right.
So, but I take shots because people say to me, "You have any regrets about the shots you've taken?" I said, "No, the only regrets I have are the shots I haven't taken." Life's about taking shots, but calculate a risk. You do your diligence, and that's at the times I felt my ego ones that I felt that I didn't do my diligence. Right. I didn't think I had to. Then you get knocked on your ass and think, oh, maybe I should do my diligence. Right. But that's I take shots in life, and that's in business, and that's because I don't fear things, but I do my best to do my diligence, and so far so good. So far so good, And
so what now in this phase? You're still on the world stage here. What are your goals? What gets you up now? You're in great shape. You work out still. What keeps you motivated?
Well, for a few things, I have my businesses. I have my lifestyle company. I have my bourbon, which is a double gold winning bourbon, which you get a certificate in the mail.
Let's plug that. What's the name of the bourbon?
Boom Boom Bourbon.
Oh, there you go. Sounds like a good time.
But we have double gold. 2020, that World Sport competition. But I always tell people, what does it mean though if you can't get outside of Youngstown? And we're in, all through North Central Ohio. Okay, great. Certificate amongst the finest products in the world. Okay, what? But now we were doing the legalities with Southern White Spirit in Nevada for all of Nevada when COVID hit. So now trying to rev that back up, which we're getting. Looks like we're going to get in PA, which would be a real coup because getting into PA is that's the hardest state to get into. Looks like possibly Texas, Arizona, and California. Then I have my lifestyle company, and then I do my film company, and I produce for MGM, I produce for Warner Brothers. I've done a couple of independent films, projects, documentaries. Now I'm in pre-production on a film project be shot in Youngstown, and hopefully this summer, before the end of summer. But when you do independent financing, when you do venture guys, you kind of at their behest, and that's where you want to be in a position where you ain't got to be.
And that's why I think it's so important, and this for all fighters, whatever level of success they had. For me, when I retired, you have to find a new passion. You got to find something else to be hungry. And I think that's, as a boxer, a successful boxer, you've done the work, you showed the discipline. To get to a certain level of success, you must have done something the right way. Yeah. So if you could just apply those same qualities outside the ring, the problem is you can't relieve the past. You can't go backwards. Right. And people try to hang on too long because, let's face it, there's no rush of walking in there in front of 10, 15,000 fans. You're the only one in the ring. Even in basketball, football, baseball, there's a team. You're in the ring, all eyes are on you. And all the cameras are on you. There's 2 people in there. So you're never going to find a rush like that again. But to be able to set that aside and move forward and find something else to pour your energy into.
Exactly. Because ego, like I said, ego gets your your ass kicked in life and love, but it also makes you believe you can be whatever you want to be, succeed in life, whatever it is you choose to be. Look, I've had family tell me, I love this one. People who love me so much, my family members telling you, you're delusional. You can't be, you're a world champion. You're good. You have lightning strikes twice. You're going to be a big movie star. But I said, no, I'm not just being a movie star. I just want to be a working actor. Or not even a working producer. No, that's right. I just want to be a producer,
And I think...
But I said, here's the thing. I've done it. It ain't like I ain't done it. I've produced for MGM. I've produced for Warner Brothers. If I've done it, it's like I tell people, if you've done it, then you are that. Yeah. But because you ain't done it in the last 10 minutes, it's like you never did it. It boggles my mind how these people think.
To me, when I set a goal now, the goal, I don't say I'm going to make this much money for the goal. The goal, I want to stretch myself. So if I make a goal to do this, I want to become a bigger version of myself. I know if I'm going to own 2 gyms, 5 gyms, 1,000 gyms, I'm going to have to become a better Billy. I'm going to have to become a smarter, a wiser. So when I set my goal, I said, how do I become a bigger version of myself to do it? And then, the money's going to come with it. But if you do it just for the money, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, 100%.
No, you get money. You said, if you're good at what you do, money will come. I tell you, you don't ever do anything. To my kids, tell them I teach. You don't ever do anything for money. It's got to be a passion, a love, because you'll be doing it for a long time. Right. But if you're good at what you do, that's as you said, the money will come. It will. It's an energy sport. It's funny. I'm involved in a project. I'm just laughing because I'm saying, and I offered an actor. An actor is a friend of mine, and made him an offer for this film that I had pre-production on to be in it. And the offer I thought was a very respectable offer. He comes back and he sends me an email, Ray, he says, I make $350,000 a day. Thanks, but no thanks. I sent an email back, I said, I used to make $1 million a fight. Guess what? That ain't happen now either. Fuck you talking about? What you used to do, what we used to do. We're talking about the now. It's about being in the now. Right. That's the problem. People can't be in the now. You gotta be in the moment. See, people don't understand. Acting is much like life. What it takes to be a great actor, but you got the life experience. Great actors are in the now. When you watch it, you believe what you're seeing.
And if you enjoy what you're doing, what the hell matter? The money's just bonus anyways, right?
So, but I used to get hey, come on, man. And hey, look, if you got to lay out your resume, who you are, what you were, test that. No. And if you do something because you get an offer, respectfully say, hey, thanks, but no thanks, I appreciate it. Right. You don't have to give a reason why, because I can't do it, but thanks. Right. I'll do things. But there's certain things you spread yourself real thin, and you can get taken for granted. The one thing about life is familiarity breeds contempt, as we know, right? And I say that because so I'll do things, and I realize, yeah, maybe I'm doing a little too much. So I pull back on it, you know. People, and I make the joke, yeah, familiarity breeds contempt, but it's just people love you, they want to see you, and appreciate you, but they don't need to see you all the time.
Right.
And sometimes, they'll say some things are better left unsaid.
And people can count on you, but you don't want them to count on you too much.
No, that's it.
You want to be dependable, but not too much.
No,
Yeah.
because look, they take you for granted.
Or advantage of.
Of course, I'm not the best at saying no, but I've come better at it. And no doesn't mean because I don't believe what you're doing. No, it's just no. It's because I realized a friend of mine did a documentary about life experience, our time here on Earth. And she come back and she told me, she said to me, Raymond, of all the qualities and the commodities we have in life, our most valuable commodity is time. And if you think about it, it's true. So you got to use it wisely, especially as I'm 62 and I'm getting older. You use it wisely. And I don't want to, I did things for people along 3 years that they took advantage of. But I said yes. Or I allowed myself because I thought I was doing a good guy.
I think it's one of the most underrated skills you could have is to be able to say no with a straight face. I know people like my beautiful mom, and she'll give you a sheriff back, do this, do that, and the other thing, and totally get taken advantage of. And then all of a sudden she'll say, I did all that. But so I learned to say, okay, I'm going to say no, but I'm going to say it in a kind way.
Right.
Hey, I'm sorry, that's not going to work for me. So now,
Yes.
if I can't do it with a full heart, I won't do it. If I have somebody that's moving, they want help, if I want to do it, if I could do it and help them out, I'll do it. But if it's going to inconvenience me or be too much, and if I don't want to do it, you can't do it, because then what's going to happen is you're going to have resentment towards them.
Of course.
Because you're going to do it and you're going to go out and do something you don't want to do, and then you're pissed off, you're thinking about it. So, hey, if I want to do it, I do it. If not...
And who's the people that take most advantage of you? It's the people that are closest to you. And they don't mean to. They just don't understand that, I love people of Youngstown. I love my people. I love the city. I love the people. And I've tried to be accessible to them. But sometimes you get asked to do something, and you realize that, okay, yeah, and what's the offer? Because if you come in and you want me, if you're using my name for public, as I tell a guy said to me once, he said, you got to get paid for everything you do? I go, no. I said, yes. I said, yes. Yeah, I said, yes. I said, but here's the rub. Let it be my decision. Do I got to get paid in cash? No. Do I got to get paid monetary value? No. I said, but you leave it up to me what I want to do with it. So try to be paid for everything. Yes. If I'm taking the time, and my time is money. Time is valuable. So I should be compensated for that. But how? In-kind services? I'm all about in-kind services. I'll do this for you, and later on the road, you do something for me. But if I want to do it, look, you wouldn't give me $2.50. Give that to a charity. Here's my charity. Here's or you know what? Keep that. But let it be my decision.
Right.
That's all I ask. Don't assume that I should not be paid.
Right.
I don't assume that my time is not worth that money. And that just drives me nuts when people they do it, and you go, wow, okay. So, and the people who are close to you who do it are people that are close to you. That means the people of Youngstown. I love our city. Nobody, the best people in the world. But sometimes we're amongst that familiarity. They just they ask you to do things, and they ask. They say, I'd love to. I'd be honored to. And they accept you're just going to do it, and
Right.
And I'm going, well, is my time not worth anything? You know what I mean? And it's hard to say to the people closest to you.
And it's hard, and it's hard to, to say that because it makes it uncomfortable. But
Very uncomfortable.
You have to, I believe, hold yourself to a self-image and standard where, hey, look, I am valuable. My time is valuable. I don't work a 9 to 5. I'm not making $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 in a factory, whatnot. But my time's valuable. So if you want some of that, I need compensated. And if what I learned a while ago is if I don't feel bad for saying no, because when I say no to somebody, it's usually an unreasonable expectation on their part. So if you're going to come to me with something that's unreasonable, right? You should feel bad about asking me.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to feel bad about telling you no.
Well, again, as you found out, you realize, and I've learned through the years, people don't know how to push people. They don't know how to ask them. They expect it. So when they ask, it's not asking, can you do it? They're asking, I expect you to do it.
Right.
You know, I no longer, I'm Youngstown guy. He asked me to come to Florida, fly in, put you up. You speak. We're gonna, it's gonna be for a charity event. I said, okay, great. And I said, okay, and he said, and what? I said, well, what's the offer? Well, there is no. That's the offer. I said, so fly down. You fly me on, put me on. You want me to speak for the people, and it's a charity event. He says,
2-3 days of your time.
And I said, as I said, so I'll fly down one day for an event. The class 3 days a month. He said, well, there's no compensation. I started laughing. I said, you shit me, right? He said, what? I said, he said, well, I have my own charity event. We pay people because we expect people to get paid when you bring people in. It's attraction. So for the money, people to pay for the charity, you're giving them an attraction. You're giving them a valuable commodity for that day, and as they donate to your charity. I said, my own charity. I pay everybody does it. You're telling me I said, how about this? I'll fly my own self down. I'll put myself on. Just pay me. And I said, how about that? Just pay me. Man, I'll pay for everything else. He went, we can't. Well, why not? Why can't you do it? You just said you were gonna fly me down and put me. I said, don't. I'll do myself. Just pay me. Well, and it bugs my. And he was like he was like, wow, you got paid for everything. You're asking me to come to Florida.
Right.
But my point is that's what we're talking about. People don't value your time. They don't value the commodity that are real. Not as I'm talking about as people,
right?
Not as an ex.
And it's just like in the boxing ring, we got to take care of ourselves. Yes. So we're defending to keep our hands up. So in life, the same thing. It's like I got to take care of myself. So
this was a guy who was in the boxing business.
Right.
You would think you'd understand. Yeah, that's what I said. That's so right. Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it just boggles my mind. Look. So look. As people, all we have is our time, but the time is worth money. Right. Your time is valuable. There's so little of it in this world.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, and I was thinking, gosh, I like making money, and I would like to make some more money, and I know I will make more money in the future. But I was thinking it's not the most important thing. So I was just trying to think in about 15, 20 seconds, what's more important than money. So first thing I said, like you said, time. I said, if I were to say, hey, Ray, we're going to give you $1 billion, not $1 million, $1 billion, but you're diagnosed with cancer tomorrow. You're not going to take that trade, right? If someone said, hey, Ray, we're going to give you $1 billion, but one of your loved ones, immediate family's going to die. You going to take that trade? No. Or I'm sure we've been down, had bad days where you're miserable, and say, hey, Ray, we're going to give you $1 billion. But the way you feel is you're most miserable down on earth, you have to live like that. Would you take that? Of course not.
And so how are you going to, also like you talked about, how are you going to make it? Ray, I'll give you $1 million, but you gotta crawl through shit. And and you're gonna get shit all over yourself, and then if you can make it on the other side, the check's waiting for you. Would you crawl through shit to get it? No.
Or do something to hurt your own self, or do something that you don't want to do.
Or your dignity.
Exactly.
If I gotta crawl through shit, first I don't crawl through nothing. Right. I'm not crawling for nothing, right? That's the old saying we talked about earlier. Right. I'd rather die standing up than live on my knees.
Right.
I ain't crawling for nothing, So there is a check, but you lose your self-respect because you crawl through shit to get to a check. That's what people. It
goes back to the Bible. What's that old saying? Since I was a kid, I went to a little Catholic school till 8th grade, and they always my parents after 8th grade they said, boy, that high school's kind of expensive. You better go to the public school. But my younger brother went, so I don't know what happened there. But anyways, I always loved when they said, what does a man gain if he gains the world but loses his soul? Right. That's what it comes down to, because at the end of the day, we're here for a very short time. And, we got to do things in line with our principles, our integrity. Mine might be different than yours, but what happens is the money's never worth it, because you become a smaller version of yourself when you shrink down.
You said it, but I tell my kids, I tell people, you're going to make money, you're going to lose money, you're going to spend money, you make more money. It's a revolving, it's the wheel going around. It's circular. We're going to make money, lose money, spend money. That's life. So how much money you think you need to live a quality life? The quality is in how you live it, not how much you have, right? So if you get, like we talked about earlier, you can't do things just for the money, because you can lose your soul, as we talked about, and you get, I give you $10.50 more, but you're gonna lose your soul. Oh, okay, but there's people who do that.
What happens is they, and that's a big problem I see is, the boundaries. I won't do this, and then you break that boundary and you do something. Well, okay, but I won't do this, and you break that, and pretty soon you're left and you're doing a whole bunch of shit that you never thought you'd do.
And you lost yourself.
Right, you lost yourself in the process.
And that's it. That's life. Still, look, if you pip yourself off, and people pip, you pip yourself off if you're doing things just for the money.
Right.
You're pimping
Just like you
off.
said, you do it just for the money, you're a whore.
That's right.
Keep it simple.
That's right, man. That's right. So it's right. But the two things, hopefully you do good things for people, and people are gonna remember you. Because look, when you leave this earth, my father always remember, man. He said, you got two things. He says, you got your name, and you got your integrity. That's all you got. He said, when you leave this, people are gonna remember you for who you are and what you were. And that name, you don't everything. My father said, I never did anything to disrespect the snake. Don't you? And I teach my kids, don't disrespect the name. And they have. So far, so good. That's what you hope, right? That's the one thing you carry, man. You got to have that integrity. You live life that you want. You want your kids to live a good life, but certain, you got to do things, and some things you just got to say no.
Right. And like we talked about, money it's so useful in a certain regard as a form of energy. And I think one of the reasons is it's easy to measure. So, you can't measure someone's happiness, right? No. You can't measure someone's health. Somebody might say, hey, go to the doctor, get a clean bill of health, walk out and have a heart attack. So money's easy to measure, but at the same time, it shouldn't be the only thing. It can't be the only thing we look at.
Well, it's like, I always tell people, so let me say, you always say, look what Jeff Bezos, I'm using his name, I'm just using it, he gave $2 billion to charity. Oh my God, can you believe that? Well, yeah, he's got 20. He's got 50.
Right.
I said, but how about the person who has, $2 in the pocket and gives the other person $1? Who did more?
Right.
Who did more?
He just gave 50%.
They did more. So that's, and that's what I'm saying. So when people talk, but we're in a society, in a world, but it's a world of aesthetics. It's a world of what we have, a materialistic world. So you give to the goodness of the heart, out of love. I'm not using Jeff Bezos. I don't know the man. He's a good man. But somebody like that, maybe his name is tax break. So
without question.
So it's right now.
And to me, it's important,
What do you do? So what you give, it's why you're giving. It's got to be what's the reason you're doing it.
And for everyone watching, you might be watching and you're juiced up, you're feeling good, you're watching this, you're inspired. So people need to know that, it's not just money. I always learn that it's time, treasure, talent. So some people I don't have a lot of time, and I got about one talent, boxing. So I can pay somebody. Now back before I had money, it might be I was donating my time. It might be or maybe
because it comes back to you.
Or you could sing in the choir. So there's so many different ways to help people. Time, treasure, talent. There's always a way to help people. People sometimes use an excuse. They'll say, "Well, I don't got the money. I'm trying to. I just got enough to survive." And that's could be true, but there's something else you could do. You could donate some time.
That's right.
You could donate one of your talents to somebody. Right. So there's always a way. I think that whoever you come in contact with, and I know you've lived your life like that, is you try to leave them just a little bit better off.
That's it, man. Hopefully, that's a good way to put it. You want people leaving them wanting, just remembering how you made them feel.
Right.
I have to say this, right? As somebody outsider from boxing, straight up, you two have a lot of integrity. And more so, I think when people think of boxers, they think they're a bit unhinged or all over the place. You two couldn't be more, kind of have a strong foundation, strong belief, all that. So, and honestly, I always got a lot of shit to say. Ask him, I always got shit to say. Just sitting back here and being able to see you two who've been through it and all that shit is fucking cool, man. So I appreciate it.
No, I not appreciate it because I'm telling you, one thing I would say, you catch a good ass whooping in life. That's the greatest teacher you can have.
Yeah, right? That's true. All right, so check this out. I think I want to do some rapid fire questions. Just first shit that comes to mind. All right? Both of you.
Okay.
All right? Y'all ready?
Yeah, I'm in.
All right.
Oh no, you can ask him first, then me.
I'll just ask. You can respond, but just like what comes off the top
Okay.
of your head when I ask you these questions, all right?
Get ready for some crazy shit.
One word question answers or
2, 3 words. We're gonna one word.
However, whatever comes to mind. I'll let y'all do
Our amazing combined vocabulary. You're gonna give us one word.
You're both linguistic. Linguistically,
Right.
yeah. What are who are your favorite 3 boxers of all time? Not the best. Your favorite 3 boxers of all time.
Roberto Duran, other than my father. My father, Roberto Duran, Tony Canzoneri, and probably and Marvin Hagler.
Marvin.
Besides the champ right here, I'm gonna go with. Gosh, I love Triple G, Golovkin. I would say Triple G. I'm gonna go with. It's a tough one. Sugar Ray Robinson. Everybody loves him, and Chavez Sr.
All right. What purchase of $100 or less has most impacted your life?
Groceries. Gotta eat.
I'll tell you what, you find a good book, there's so many great books out there, and you study that book and you read it so many times that you don't just know the book, it becomes a part of you. So if you go out there and you find a great book, whether it's Think and Grow Rich, whether it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it could be Born Rich, you find a great book and you study it, and you don't read it one time, but you read it over and over and over again.
What's your favorite book?
Oh gosh, I got a few of them. There's some good ones.
Where we go? No, I'm just playing.
I read biographies. I read biographies. I can't do nonfiction.
Yeah.
I have to read real things. I read or I read motivational books, self-help books.
Right.
But I like biographies. Well, first, when the question said, if you had $100, he said book. He said, if you spend $100 on a book, that better be one terrific book, man. One terrific book.
Hardback. You gotta be hardback.
That would make you holler. Hey!
Signed hardback copy. Yeah.
What's some bad advice you hear given related to boxing?
Bad advice?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, okay, worst advice, I tell these guys, I actually had an argument with one of the fighters on air, these contemporaries. Against the southpaw, it's the right hand. The right hand got to travel twice as far. It's the left hand.
Right.
They've been teaching that crap in the amateurs forever. You see a guy to the left, it's the right hand lead. Southpaws want you to leave. They feint, they get you lead, and then they counter you because they lean back, counter you because you fall right into it. If you throw right hand, see, and you counter without a toe. That's why those guys who southpaws make are masters of it. Right? It's the left hand. If you can't touch it with the left hand, you can't
touch it with the right. Yeah.
And the hand there, it's the hook to the body, hook to the head. So, the worst advice is when you're fighting a southpaw, lead with your right hand. Stupid as they can come. So.
Yeah, I would say the bad advice here all the time is don't take chances. Like you'll be in the corner. Oh, don't take chances. You're okay. Be careful. Stay away. And it's like the whole fucking thing's a chance. You're in the ring. Take your shot.
Take your shot. That's right. You gotta go after it.
All right, I got another one for you. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has had the biggest impact on your life?
The biggest belief, habit,
or behavior.
Or behavior. Yeah.
Well, I think for me, I've always, I went to parochial school 12 years. My faith is what carried me through my life. That's the one thread. That's a discipline that's carried me through lifetime like this. But I think for me, I've always been prayed, but I've been, very close friend of mine, Father Tim O'Neill from Youngstown. Father O'Neill passed away this week. He used to tell me, I used to talk to him, and he's one of my dearest friends, but spiritual advisors, man. And he said, Ray, when you talk to God, he said, you ever get on your knees? I said, well, not really. I have, in church, kneeling, but usually in bed at night, normally not for it. He says, get on your knees. He said, show humility. He said, you want your person has to show humility to God. And I've been on my knees more in the last 5 years than the other 50, 60 years, 55 years before. And that's the God's truth. And so I think that's taught me when you want something and you're asking for a favor from a higher up, our God, you're asking for Christ to come into that favor, show humility, and just don't flippantly, passing thought. Get on your knees and ask fervently. That's, I think, for me, that's probably the best advice, the best lesson I've learned over the last several years.
I love that.
You have a response to that?
It's hard to come after that one.
What's the most significant thing someone has taught you who's much younger than yourself? I think we always hear, the OGs, y'all sharing information about, mistakes we made in the past or being able to fix them on that stuff. What's something you've learned from somebody really significantly younger than you?
Well, I'll tell you exactly. Love. Unconditional love. Because when I first saw my child, I never believed I could love as much as I loved that child when I first saw it, my first child. That, when you talk about unconditional love, you hear the word until you go to that. Because you have unconditional love, but we love our parents, but they love us. They love us because I think we have conditions with our parents, right?
Right.
And I think you love your significant other. You have spouse. Well, you love them, but there's always restrictions to it as well, I think, right? But when you love a child, it's unconditional. There's nothing that you can't do your child. And my children, I've been through. My daughter has been my greatest heartache, my greatest love, unconditional, my greatest heartache. But that's life. That's our children, right? So, and if you look back, I saw how my brother was that from my mother, and I'm sure there's everyone through in life. If you have a sibling, it may not be you or it might be you, that you're the one that one problem child for the parents, right? We love you unconditionally, and yet we keep putting through the middle and back with our actions, with our things we say, but just how we're living. So, I think for me, it was my children because of that unconditional love.
What profession would you have chosen had you not been a boxer? I feel like you're
He
exploring
said-
some of them now, so I don't know if that's where you would go.
I didn't, I always thought I'd be successful. I didn't know what. I actually thought, and this is true, I actually thought I'd be a good lawyer because I was, in class, I was a good, very hard man. But I like to think, that people would say that I was confrontational. I like to think I would say adversarial. I'd like to say I was confrontational, but because I believed in what I'm saying. I believed in facts. I believe in truth.
Right and wrong.
And so, I like to think I'd have been good. But see, I can't answer that truthfully because I don't want to be anything else but a fighter, as we talked about earlier.
You can only answer it looking back now, but in the time,
there's nothing else I wanted to be. But at that time, I thought, fighter, I'd like to be. I like to think if it wasn't a fighter, I'd been successful in something. What it was, I don't know.
Right.
But I'd like to think I would have been successful whatever I chose.
All right, I got two more for you.
Come on, Billy, answer. I want to hear.
I'm listening to the champ right here.
Let's hear yours. Here, I got one for Billy. Where do you see boxing in the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I think that
10 years. Where do you see
I
it
think there's a
going
great opportunity right now in the boxing world because the young kids are getting into it. You see it on TikTok, you see the YouTube, you see the shit happening. But I think that it's a pivotal point because they need to make some changes. They need to transition. They need to grow. Because the UFC, I'm Mr. Boxing. I'm Mr. Boxing 101. I love boxing. I think the boxer will beat the UFC guy in the fight and this and that. But the UFC is doing it the right way. The top guys are fighting the top guys. And the boxers are staying out. Listen, you're the best fighter in the world, right? You get a million people watching on pay-per-view. You don't fight for 2 years. A lot of people forgot about you. A lot of shit changed in 2 years. There's been 2 Super Bowl champs in 2 years. So they got to get the best guys in the ring more often, fighting. And they're going to have to start fighting more often. The best guys are going to have to start fighting the best. And, they're going to have to adapt or die. And I think boxing to me is the number one sport in the world. It still is. But, they really need to make some changes. But I think right now is an opportunity for them to do that.
I think, well, going on what he said, I think, of course, I love boxing, but I think boxing, we're at a point of, it can become extinct because people couldn't tell a guy walking down the street who he is. I'm a fight fan. I can't tell you half the guys. I know the names, don't know the faces.
You don't see them enough, right?
Yeah. So, because as he said, they don't fight as often. We're fighting on national television. Without national television exposure on national television, we'll never have the same, I'll never have the same popularity that we once had in the 80s. Never. People got to know who the fighters are and what they're, and tell the backstories and stuff. As he said, the best fighters got to fight the best fighters. Quit trying to quit putting restrictions. But look, when Ray Leonard said about Tommy Hearns going to fight, they talk to each other. They call Bob, make the fight. 50-50. You get it. Now you guys, yeah. He's getting 70. I'm getting 70. He's getting 30. No, jerk off. It's a 50-50. Right? You're both champion. This stupid stuff like that, right? They do stupid stuff like that for kill the fight. It's basically saying you don't want to fight. It's a nice way of saying you don't want to fight.
And in UFC, a loss isn't the end of the world for guys.
No.
They'll lose and they'll come back. Now, these guys, they're so fucking obsessed with their record.
Right.
You're the best. Go fight the best. You lose, get off your ass and go do it again. I mean, there is the idea that there's some boxer the greatest. It doesn't work like that because fighter A beats fighter B beats C, and fighter C beats A. So to say that there's one that's better than anybody, go out there, fight your ass off, make a name for yourself, make a legacy, make more money, and go out with no regrets. Don't fight once every 2 years.
And they extend their career. Look, as we were talking about earlier, they extend to fight once a year. I can fight. Who'd want to be fighting in the late 30s? Who wouldn't want to be fighting in the 40s? Now, Pacquiao's an anomaly. He was a guy, he's a freak of nature. But still, who would want to be getting hit in the 40s? I want to be getting hit in the 30s. As we talked about earlier, we talked about after 30. Man, spirit is not made for war.
Let's say that, Cokie. Who said that?
Napoleon.
What was that quote? Say it again.
He said, after 30, a man's spirit is not made for war. And but it's true. Because, and Lenny Mancini said, after 28, you're a young man but an old fighter. If you've been fighting regularly, because your life's different, So the 30 you think about, you got children, wife, children. You're done about the future. Nah, you don't.
A shift takes place. You have less to prove. It's just different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I admire the guys who want to fight. I admire these guys who are still fighting. But these guys are fighting once in a while just to maintain, so they can pay big money and fight once a year. Like, look at the fighters from before. Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman he fought since Hoover was president. So who remember? And I like Keith, but he ain't fought forever. So no, he's got there's no legacy. They got no legacy. They're not relevant in any capacity. Why? Well, look, I'd like to go in guns blazing. If it was 2 or 3 year period, or just a short period of time, make a splash. Boom. Perfect example. Once me and Ray Leonard are contemporaries, we're friends. Guy said to me once, he said, he was talking about, Ray Leonard was, at the same time. You and Ray Leonard were the two most popular fighters. Like, what? I said, that's a little bit different. Ray's special, man. He's special. He's the greatest fighter of my generation. There's no doubt. I said, but I appreciate you saying that. I said, but he says, how can you compare your careers? I said, well, here's the one I compare. I said, Marlon Brando is considered by many to be the best actor ever, American actor ever, right? Greatest actor ever. I said, James Dean made 3 films, and they're still talking about him to this day. I said, he's Marlon Brando, I'm James Dean.
There you go.
That's pretty great. That's great. What's the most surprising thing you've seen in boxing?
Oh, shit, I don't know if anything surprises me anymore in that sport.
I mean, there has to be some sort of moment where you were like, that just like really...
So every time I think I've seen the worst decision, I'll see another fucking decision that's worse. I mean, bad decisions sometimes, and just crazy, stupid shit that's not necessary. You get these guys almost like they bring, like, their entourage. It's just so much unnecessary stuff comes with the sport.
Well, the people that talk about it, I said, there's a lot of towel wavers, very few trainers. A lot of time. If you got if trainers don't wave, he need trainers. So the guys like Freddie Roach, Barry McGurk, Garcia, they walk in and talk to their tires, and they're talking to them. They're trying to keep them motivated, keep their mind right, when in the ring, get caught up in this. But when you got guys going and do these crazy dances, and that's the best part of the fight is their entrance. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said earlier about the game, I just want to say about boxing. People said, what do you think is the best thing that happened to boxing and the worst thing happened? The best thing is television. The worst thing is they went from 15 to 12. You brought mediocrity to the titles. Any 10-round fighter go 15. I go 12. Very few go 15, if any. And in fact, they weighed the night before. If I could have weighed the night before, I still might be champion. I still might, because it's an art form.
Right.
You can't have it, weighing the night before. They gain how much weight. Guy killed himself feeling the night before, but now they got 24 hours to replenish. Your body will need 5 to 8 hours to replenish.
36 sometimes. I mean, sometimes you'll see the weigh-in at 1 p.m. They're fighting at 8 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. We know that. So that's the worst thing to do for boxing.
Great point.
And so that's why we're talking about the guys. Why are the fighters? Why would I have to be as best as I could? Why would I have to train as hard as I need to if I could just weigh in the day before? I can do a half-ass, still weigh in and make weight.
Right. That's a good point.
I don't know. How did you get your nickname?
My father was given that nickname in 1939. My father said, first fight in New York. He fought term pro in 37. 39, he fought in the Ohio area, couldn't get no fights. He had to go to New York. Went to New York. First fight at the Broadway Arena on Broadway and Halsey in Brooklyn. put on the marquee. First, they put on the marquee, Lenny Mancini. He said, no, my name is Mancino. My actual name is Mancino. My last name. My legal last name passport is Mancino. He said, but Lenny Mancini. They put Lenny Mancino. No, that's not my name. It's Mancino. The guy said, no, sounds better, flows better. It's true. That's true. So
I didn't know that.
True, yeah. So now, but as he climbed the ladder, but the first fight he had there, guy, promoter, Max Just, turned to the writer, said, look at this guy, there's nothing but keep coming, throwing punches, boom, 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 all the time. Next day, Lenny Boom Boom Mancini. From that point on, it was boom. So, I've gotten that because when I was born, my, baby boom, little boom, boom junior, but my sister's little boom, baby boom, my brother, before we get stuck, my mom was Mrs. Boom, and stuck with me. So I was boom boom long before I was a fighter. So I was making, I was playing Pop Warner football, little boomer, little boom, 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 But I always made jokes. What if I picked the right, occupation? What if I was been a florist? Boom boom flowers. That's what I should have went. But my father was original, and I was given that nickname, and just all of us actually, but it stuck with me, not my brother and sister. So
The whole family has it.
yeah, we did, yeah.
All right, great. Let me do one more. All right, I got one more.
What time?
What are you not very good at?
I tell you, time management. I wanted to think I'm better than I am. I'm not good at time management, and sometimes I feel like I've wasted too much. I waste a lot in my life, there's no doubt. But then I'm saying, well, I've been contemplative those times. I do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of meditating. I do prayer. But I think my time management has not been good, especially over the last several years, if anything. And that's, I won't say regret, but it's, I'm regretful of those times that I've wasted, because we talked about earlier, time is one commodity we have so little of.
Right.
So true. Isn't that true?
That's the truth. What was the question?
What are you not very good at?
Boy, I want to focus on what I am good at. Like, I got a Napoleon quote for you. He said, I see only the goal and the obstacle must give way. So I look forward, I see just the goal and the obstacle got to give way. But one thing I'm not very good at, I would say, is probably organizational stuff. So behind the desk, if somebody were to look at my car right now, it wouldn't look like a successful person's car.
Before you said that, but the one thing I learned about business is that let those who do. I don't do what you do. There's people who do organizing, who are very good at it. My wife won it. My wife organized off the hook. She'd go in the room. I'm neat, but it's a departmental.
Right.
I got stuff here, but it's polished shit here. But it's all departments. She goes in. So there's those people, but those who do. So
right. I was lucky. My wife is extremely organized, and I think every night she gives me and she looks around. She says, "Oh my God, I got to clean up after you."
Yeah. That's good. But that's again.
Well, Ray Mancini, world champion, boxing Hall of Famer. Thank you so much for taking this time. It was just a great conversation. I really think people can get a lot of value out of this, and just a lot of fun. And we'll have to get together next time I'm in Ohio. I come up there every few months, or I'll at least shoot you a text. If you're busy, you're busy. If not, we'll grab lunch or get a bike. It's great to see you.
I come down to Florida again.
Come down, see my. You got to come see us in Naples.